So let's have a very real conversation about how my first month postpartum has been going. I wanted to do a very casual video. Obviously, given the camera angle and the lighting, this is just what I can do right now. I just don't have the energy. She does not like me talking so loud. I'm feeding Fern right now, which is why the camera angle's a little weird. The energy to really do like a full sit down, full makeup. Full disclosure though, I do have concealer on, just like under the eyes and stuff, because I was in a little bit of blush because I look dead most days. So I just wanted to let you know, this is the first time I've straightened my hair in probably since I filmed my horror channel video, which was like 3 weeks ago. It's a good day if I brush my teeth twice a day. But I really wanted to talk about the 1 month period of postpartum. So I'm 5 weeks out now, so obviously it's a little bit over a month. But that first month you hear about being in survival mode, and that is 100% the reality of it. Is you are just getting through every single day, and no one has a routine, no one has a schedule. So you're doing the best you absolutely can and sleeping as best you can. We'll get into sleep in a second, well, later in the video. I'll have some chapters linked down below for everything that I'm talking about in this video. So there's just a lot to cover. I want to talk about sleep, breastfeeding, and just the identity crisis and survival of postpartum, that first month especially. Now, obviously, I'm not fully out of survival mode yet. I'm still just barely getting through every single day. It is so hard. This is by far the hardest thing that I've ever done. Like, I really thought I would have time, because newborns sleep a lot, right? I thought I would have time to go back to work, and obviously I filmed 2 videos. I was in the adrenaline period of postpartum, so like right after you give birth, you kind of go into this euphoric period of time, which lasted for me like a week or 2. It was really that second week that started to get really, really hard. I've heard different things, that like the second night is the worst, or nights 3 through 5 are the worst, and things like that. But for me, the 3 and 4 weeks have been the most difficult, because she is just, now I don't believe there's like good babies and bad babies, because they're just babies and all babies have different needs. I think part of it is the breastfeeding. I was for a long time the only one that could feed her, so that proved to be difficult in and of itself. And not just for me, for Ryan too, because he couldn't offer that. He couldn't soothe her if she was hungry. Anyway, so survival mode, it's so real, like just getting barely enough sleep to be able to function and do the things that you need to do, and which is not a lot. Now, I do want to say that this is 100% just my experience, so postpartum for other people isn't always like this, and I'm not trying to complain necessarily, but I'm just telling you how it is for me personally, and what I've been dealing with. But it is by far the hardest thing I've ever done, and it is so challenging every single day, and the anxiety that I have every single day, because I don't know how the day is actually going to go, because it's all determined based on her needs, and like if she's going to be super fussy. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is the identity crisis that I've been having. I thought the identity crisis during pregnancy was bad, getting used to the whole idea. Are you good? Okay, you're done. I'm going to put my boob away now. Thank you. Shh, it's okay. Good job. As I was saying, the identity crisis in pregnancy, getting used to the idea of becoming a mom, is nothing compared to the identity crisis I'm having currently. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like a shell of who I was before getting pregnant. Like, I have to completely deconstruct everything about me, my whole identity, and rebuild it again with this new mom identity. And you know, every single day my world revolves around her, and obviously I expected that. I knew that was gonna happen, but a part of me was thinking like, oh, I still have my hobbies, you know, I can still do the things that I like doing. So the only thing that I really have time for is watching movies, which I am still doing. I'm trying to watch new horror movies and things, so when I do go back to work on my other channel, which I thought I would be back by now, but I need to take this time. Like, I'm still just trying to survive. So yeah, watching a lot of movies and shows, and it does get very draining to just do that all day. You think that sounds like a good time, like, ooh, I can't wait to, you know, be in postpartum. I said the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna watch TV all day and just feed her, and that's it. But after 5 weeks of that, it gets kind of draining because of the sleep deprivation that I've been going through consistently since the hospital. I don't have energy to like read or do Sudoku or play my phone games or puzzle or anything like that. Like I do not have the brain capacity. The only thing I can do is like scroll TikTok and watch movies. That's like all my brain can physically handle. And there's this like pressure around her naps because she does nap frequently, but it's like, okay, what am I gonna get done during her nap? Unless she's like sleeping on me, then I'm kind of nap trapped, which is fine because then I just watch a movie. But if she's like napping and I put her down, it's like this pressure, like, okay, I need to clean. I need to like do all these things, pretty much clean. Clean is pretty much the only thing that I do otherwise, and just like organize and stay on top of laundry and everything. So there's like so much pressure. I'm trying to like, you know, fix up the house still and like get it all settled because she was born 3 weeks early, so I wasn't fully prepared. It's determined by when she sleeps and what my energy level is like that day. I have to take a nap every day and I have to try to sleep when she sleeps, so I'm really not getting much done in a day. And it's the game of comparison because I'm on TikTok all day and naturally I'm on mom TikTok, and I have cried so many times just watching other people, other moms and other parents live their life and with the same age baby that I have with the newborn, and they're going out and they're doing things and they're getting stuff done, they're making themselves breakfast and, you know, doing all these things, and I'm like, what am I doing? You know, why don't I have the energy for that? Like, and it's like, oh yeah, my baby doesn't sleep at night, therefore I don't sleep at night, you know. I have left the house with her twice. Well, we went to Ryan's parents for Christmas, which was 10 days after I gave birth. I was still in like the adrenaline period and still figuring stuff out. But I've gone to 2 stores with her, and one was Target, and that was pleasant. She slept the whole time. And then the other was Costco. Don't recommend going to Costco with a newborn that is exclusively breastfed, that you don't have a bottle for, because I had to run out of the store with a screaming baby to go nurse in the car. And my anxiety skyrocketed. Like I mean, babies cry. I don't think anyone was like judging me too harshly, but I just had this fear and like this anxiety whenever I go out in public, like I'm not gonna know what to do with her and how to console her, and I'm just gonna be an inconvenience to everyone around me because they're gonna be like, shut up the screaming child, like what are you doing? And I can't not feel that. Like I thought being a people pleaser would like leave my body once I had a baby, and it's like, you know, she's priority, but I still feel anxiety about it. She's extremely fussy at night, and I feel terrible for all of our neighbors because we live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I feel so bad. I want to like write a letter to everyone that lives around us. We have like one upstairs neighbor, one over there, and one that way. So I'm like, I just feel so bad for them. They have to listen to a screaming baby all night long, but I don't know what else I could do. Like I can't, I'm obviously trying to fix it. I'm trying to soothe her, and there's nothing we can do. Like we could move, but like to another apartment, we can't afford a house. Like where are we gonna move, you know? So anyway, that's just another factor of my anxiety, which again, I'll get into with her sleeping situation. Back to the identity crisis. I can't do anything. The other day, I left her with Ryan for like 10 minutes so I could run down the street to get a Starbucks. And that was an exciting outing for me. Like I was getting out of the house. I had the windows down. It was 40 degrees outside, and I was like, fresh air is so nice. Having a winter baby makes it especially hard because I want to get outside, and I do go for walks with her like probably 4 times a week. I'll take her on a walk, but it's freezing out. So it's like, I can't just open the door or the windows to get fresh air, and I can't just go outside without her. I have to bring her every time, and then that becomes a whole thing. Like the last couple walks, screams the rest of the way. Like we get halfway and then the other half she's screaming. And again, I don't have a bottle for her, and I am literally only going on the trail like near our apartment. So I'm like running back to our apartment with her yelling, like crying, because she's not happy. So, okay, she's done. She's gonna sleep take a nice little nap on me. This video is kind of all over the place. The best advice that I saw on TikTok is, what is something you can do to make you feel 1% better? Just 1%, whether it be fresh air, taking your prenatals, you know, chugging a glass of water, just doing one small little thing that'll make you feel a little bit better. Splash water in your face, you know, just brush your teeth. Anything that'll make you feel a little bit more human, just by 1%. Like, you don't have to do something that's gonna put you back at 100, because be real, it's probably not gonna happen. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I can't leave the house with her, even though I absolutely can. I could put her in the car and we can go. I haven't driven by myself with her yet. I have driven her in the car, but as soon as we got home from the hospital, my car had issues, and so I couldn't drive it even if I wanted to. And again, I see moms and parents on TikTok just going about their day, bringing their newborn everywhere, and I'm like, what if she cries? What are you gonna do? And it's like flu season. I don't know. It's just, I don't want to share her with the world yet. It was really weird at Costco. She was starting to cry and fuss a lot. So we took her around like this corner on this end cap of an aisle in the back, so I could like try to console her in the stroller. And this lady comes up and gets hella close to us, and she's like, oh, you got a new one there. And she starts asking us all these questions. Fern is screaming her head off because she's hungry. And I'm just like, I cannot speak to you right now. So you know, Ryan took care of the lady and like was talking to her so I wouldn't have to, because I just didn't know what to do in that moment. I'm like, she has to eat, but I'm in the middle of Costco. I'm just gonna run to the car, I guess. Like, I don't know what other parents do. Did they just prepare a bottle? I don't know. So it's been a lot of like figuring out stuff like that so I can function as a normal human again and like get back out into the real world, because I have been cooped up, barely leaving my house, barely doing anything at all. I feel like the days fly by so fast, and what am I doing? Literally just breastfeeding and watching TV. So, also, my healing hasn't been fantastic. I am dealing with like an issue I might have to go to the doctor for, which is really frustrating because I feel fine. Like, I feel almost at 100% physically, but clearly I'm still healing, and it's kind of irritating. I feel bad that I keep talking. She's trying to sleep, and it's clearly bothering her. Anyway, the point is of talking about the postpartum anxiety that I'm feeling is that I am struggling, to be honest. It's been really, really hard. I have a lot of bad days where the anxiety is so bad I get heart palpitations, which are not foreign to me, especially coming off of preeclampsia. It's a little bit worrisome. The other night we had probably the worst night that we've had with hers 2 nights ago. Where she was just inconsolable, and I was Googling everything throughout that night. I hardly slept because she didn't sleep, and I was like Googling colic, the witching hour, just baby fussiness. She needed a little diaper change, huh? Yeah. She's starting to smile now. It's the cutest thing. I love it. You sleepy girl. I really thought I would film this during her nap. But her nap was 30 minutes, so I do have to get her back down here soon because of her sleep schedule. Speaking of which, let's get into that. So there are 2 things that I wish that I researched way more when I was pregnant, because when I was pregnant, all I could focus on was labor and delivery. Like, I was so nervous about what was gonna happen, and obviously I researched a ton of stuff, but I didn't research the things that ended up happening to me, so I don't know if it was even worth my time. Now, I was more nervous about postpartum because I knew labor and delivery would be, what, at most a couple days, and then postpartum is months. So I was like, if things go bad postpartum, that's like a long time to deal with it, versus labor is like, I don't know, a day. But I still did not look into these things as much because I thought, I don't know how she's gonna be, so I'm just gonna wait till she's here and figure it out as we go, which is not what I would recommend doing. Now, it is true that every baby is different, so researching a ton of stuff about it doesn't necessarily, all of it's gonna apply to you. So those 2 things are sleeping / wake windows / the witching hour. And the other thing is breastfeeding. So again, I was like, I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to breastfeed. Why would I need to look into it? I'm just gonna see how it goes. No, I really needed to look into it because I could have helped my journey so much if I knew a lot of things beforehand. Like she is. She's huge. She's huge. Look at her smile. So let's start with sleeping. Babies need to wake up throughout the night. I didn't expect her to like sleep through the night. If anything, I would be like really anxious if she slept for 12 hours, right? Because them waking up throughout the night is a protection for them. And newborns need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. So I was fine with that. If it was every 2 to 3 hours, you know, if I could sleep 3 hours straight, I would pay good money for that. So I haven't slept more than 2 hours in a row in over a month. My last good night's sleep where I slept more than 2 hours was the night before I went in for my induction. So obviously never got to sleep in the hospital, and I haven't slept since. I've slept maybe an hour, hour and a half here and there. At most she'll go 2 hours throughout the night in a row, and then she's up at least 5 times throughout a 12-hour period. So it's been a lot, and I feel like that sleep deprivation is slowly like eating away at my brain, and I'm like, am I doing permanent damage by not sleeping more than 2 hours at a time? I'm dreaming, so I'm entering REM sleep, and I feel like my brain and body are adjusting, but it is really, really hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's so hard. There are nights where I wake up and I just cry while she's feeding because I'm so tired, and I would do anything to sleep. So I wish I looked into that more. Now I'm starting to learn about wake windows and overtiredness and the witching hour, because the night we had the other night, we were both, it was so much. It was so much. I was crying, she was screaming, and when I say screaming, I mean she's screaming. Like, before I was exaggerating. When we're in Costco screaming, she's crying. She was screaming, like she was not happy. I think she was way overtired, and so now I'm learning about her nap schedule and how she has to sleep throughout the day, like many, many hours. And I can't just, you know, wait for her to be visibly tired. I have to put her down if she's been awake for more than an hour, because otherwise she's going to be screaming at night when she's overtired because she hasn't slept enough during the day. So I wish I researched that more. I wish I researched more about those things, because I was just going into it being like, well, she'll sleep when she wants to sleep, and that's just not how babies work. Babies, especially newborns, will not put themselves to sleep. You need to put them to sleep. They will fight sleep, and she's been fighting naps hardcore during the day. And she also fights sleep at night. She hates sleeping, hates it. And trust me, we do it all. We swaddle, we have a white noise machine. I have multiple white noise machines. Usually I end up feeding her to sleep, which I know some people have opinions about that. I don't care. I love feeding her to sleep. That's usually my go-to. If she's fussy, I'm putting her on the boob. I'm putting her on because she will be really calm, except for the witching hour, which is like a period of 5 to 11 p.m. and it can last for a couple minutes. It could last for a couple hours. The other day was about 2.5 hours of her constantly screaming, crying. She wouldn't take the boob, which is very rare for her. Like, she loves breastfeeding. So that was very concerning that I couldn't even put her on to comfort her, because that usually does the trick. And that was so stressful, because I was like, I don't know what's wrong with my baby. And we did everything. We gave her gripe water. We gave her the gas drops. We, you know, rocked her for over 2 hours, changed her diaper. I changed her swaddle out. We have blanket swaddles and we have Velcro swaddles. I switched her to a blanket one. We even put her in the bath. I stripped both of our clothes off and I did skin to skin, like, as fast as I could and threw her in the bath, you know, like, we were trying everything, like everything to soothe her. Anyway, it was terrible. I was seeing TikToks of people with the same age babies as me, and they were happy babies and they were just chilling. They would do naps really well. The parents would get stuff done. They would run errands, but I would just cry because I'm like, when is it my turn? When am I gonna get that happy baby? When am I going to be able to enjoy this time? Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel awful for wanting to like rush through this time. I want to enjoy this period of time. I want to enjoy her newborn stage, because she'll never be this small and she'll never like rely on me this much. I know. Okay, I think that's enough talk about the sleep situation. Just don't compare yourself to anyone else and what they're doing and what their baby's doing. If they're sleeping through the night or they're sleeping long stretches, it's fine. You know, whatever your baby needs to do is what they're going to do. I wish I could fix it, and I'm trying to get her wake windows to be shorter during the day and get her to go to sleep, but she's been fighting her nap this entire video of me trying to get her to go down by breastfeeding and then sleeping at the boob. So speaking of breastfeeding, let's talk about it. So I did not know about Ahaka. I mean, I knew what it was from TikTok and things, but I didn't know like when to start using it, and I wish I used it a little bit earlier. I actually started using it like 3 weeks in and started to build up a little bit of a stash in the freezer. And by stash, I literally mean like 3 or 4 2-ounce bags. Okay, that's my stash. I see some of these freezer stashes on TikTok and I'm like, how are you making them? Like, when did you start? Because I just wanted a couple meals worth in the freezer just so Ryan was able to feed her a bottle. And so we started implementing that because I do want to transition to being able to leave the house more and have Ryan watch her. So he needs to obviously be able to feed her, and I want other people to be able to babysit and things like that. So I wanted to get a couple meals worth in the freezer. And then I am kind of pumping. I haven't used my electric pump yet. I've sanitized all the parts yesterday, so I'm a little bit intimidated to start electric pumping. And I probably should have started by now, but I just have been intimidated by it. I do have a hand pump. I think it's the Lasino one, the purple one. I have that, and so I will do a little bit of pumping after her feed in the mornings because you make a little bit more milk in the mornings. And I only started doing that probably like within this last week. So I wish I started all of this a little bit earlier. You don't want to start too early because you can create an oversupply, and you want to find like a good medium ground of like pumping just for 5-10 minutes after a feed, so you're not creating like this huge supply. But it's also nice to have that as an option if she doesn't fully drain me. You know, I can pump it out a little bit. And at first it took me 4 days to get to 2 ounces worth of milk to be able to freeze. So it took me a long time to get a couple bags in the freezer, and I felt so accomplished every time I would show Ryan my little 2-ounce, you know, bottle container thing, and I'm like, I got to 2 ounces after like 4 days. So it takes time, but now I'm able to pump and get 2 ounces on one breast if she's not feeding. So if Ryan's feeding her with a bottle, I still have to pump for that feeding. What are you doing? I also am still using a nipple shield to breastfeed, and there's no shame in that. I am able to wean, but she gets really fussy. So usually I don't want to deal with her fussiness because she's already fussy when she's hungry. So I just, you know, will put the shield on and do most of the feed with the shield, and then sometimes I'll take it off and see if she'll actually latch. But I've just been having to use the shield, so it's okay if you have to use tools in order to feed your baby. I'm so grateful that that's even an option. My personal breastfeeding goal is to feed her, you can see my bra is like undone, feed her for a year at least. So hopefully I can build up some more stash and slowly but surely build that up over this next year, and then maybe feed her longer. Sorry if you can hear her white noise machine in the background. I finally got her to go to sleep. So anyway, breastfeeding, hard, so difficult. Didn't think it'd be that hard. I didn't know if I could do it. Like, I knew it was hard in the sense that not everyone is able to, but actually doing it and going through it, I understand why some people choose not to. Not so much like their body isn't producing enough, but they choose not to, because it is so much. It is every 2 hours you're feeding, and those feeds are like 30 minutes sometimes to an hour. Like, it is so much time dedicated to feeding to where I can't really do anything else, which is why I've just been watching TV and movies, because she's locked on me. Like, I can't do anything. Now, one thing that I didn't do any research about and didn't even really know about until it started happening to me, and I was like, why do I feel like this every single time? I forgot what it's called, but it's like this letdown response that some people have when they're breastfeeding that's like depression. It's like this feeling of doom over you, and it's like painful. It's like emotional pain, and I can't explain it other than it's like the worst depression I've ever felt. And it's starting to lighten up now. It really only happened for like 3 weeks, I would say. This last week it's been pretty good, so I'm not sure if it's something that does, you know, lessen over time, or I've just gotten used to it. I don't really know. I don't really feel it that much anymore. Sometimes breastfeeding is like isolating because you have to prioritize feeding your baby, but it's like inconvenient for your life or for everyone else around. So if we have visitors, it's like I have to leave to go breastfeed. Also, there's been so many meals. I don't know what it is. Her and I are connected in some way that when I'm hungry, she's hungry. She smells food cooking, knows it's dinner time. For me, she's like, but I want to eat, so you have to feed me first. And I have to eat last in this household. Like, it's... it sucks. There are just so many things I've had to adjust to that are like selfish things that are hard to get used to, that I used to enjoy, or like, you know, have a routine of my own that I have to sacrifice entirely because of this new human. So some of those things, obviously eating all my food cold pretty much, because by the time I get to it after breastfeeding, it's cold. Drinking coffee cold. I have to, you know, I prepare my coffee quickly in the morning after she's eaten, and she's like laying there on her playmat for a little bit. I'll like make my coffee, but then she gets irritated and wants to be held. So I have to pick her up, and sometimes that's away from my coffee and my coffee gets cold. Pooping with the door open. Ryan is back at work, so I am home alone with her all day. When I have to go to the bathroom, I have to leave the door open just in case so I can hear her crying. Not that I can really do much in the moment, but I at least want to know, like, is she upset? Anyway, here are a couple things that have like saved me in that first month of postpartum, and without them, I really could not have gone through it because of how challenging it was. Firstly, Ryan made all of my meals for the first 2 weeks. So he took a month off for paternity leave and now he's back at work. But for those first 2 weeks, he made sure I was eating and drinking my water. So he would constantly refill my water. He'd make all my meals because I was the only one that could feed her. So it was his job to kind of feed me, and that was so helpful because I never had to worry about it. I wasn't even picky. I was like, make whatever, I'm gonna eat whatever, because I was like disassociating. I was in survival mode, hardcore, where I just needed sustenance. I did not care what it was. Making sure I stay on my prenatals and taking my supplements, especially vitamin D, because we're in winter and I cannot get outside. And even when I do, it's like rainy or cloudy. So making sure I have vitamin D, making sure she has vitamin D, and staying on top of those so I don't get deficient in anything. And also with breastfeeding, you want to make sure you're taking your prenatals as well. Now, getting outside was really important to me. So we started going outside 3 days after she was born and going on little walks with her and bundling her up and making sure she stays warm. She's not always the biggest fan of walks, but sometimes I need it for me. Like, I have to go for myself. So you're coming with me, even if you're not super excited about it right now. Your mom needs it for her mental health, to actually physically see the sun. Because, in case you don't remember, my apartment that we moved into 2 years ago does not get any direct sunlight. Not for 1 second of the day. It goes right over our building, and we have one sliding door and one window in the bedroom. And that is it. And no sun ever comes in our house. And let me tell you, I've cried over it. Like, I have cried because of the lack of sunlight that we have here. We are looking to move next year, but we just didn't want to move with the newborn. So anyway, seeing the sun when possible has been, like, I have never like loved the sun as much as I do in those moments where I can actually like see it and get it on my skin. I don't even wear sunscreen out. I just have it be on my skin and get the full UV rays on my skin. So the last thing that's really saved me is putting realistic expectations on my day. If all that I get done in a day is feed her, then I have had a successful day. Like, I have fed my baby all day for 24 hours straight. I'm doing a good job. That is literally all I have to do, and make sure I am obviously healing and resting postpartum. So I'm not putting these expectations on myself to get things done. Is it difficult? Absolutely. I am a very independent person, and towards the end of my pregnancy, I wasn't able to vacuum my rug because of the type of rug it is. It's like a workout. I wasn't able to lift things. Now I'm able to do those things slightly, but if I can like feed her and then also get like a load of towels done, I'm doing great. That's a great day, you know what I mean? Also getting a little self-care in there. If I could do at least a body shower, again, amazing. That's a great day. So I'm not making to-do lists. I started doing that close to when she was born, like when we got home, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I making a to-do list when literally the only thing I have to do right now is keep my daughter alive and feed her and change her and that's it. Like, that's all I have to make sure. Like, sure, there are things I want to do, but nothing is as important as those things. So regardless if the dishes are piling up, or, you know, there's a load of laundry, or, you know, anything like that. So like I said before, part of me feels guilty that I want to like rush into the next stage of her life and enjoy her infancy instead of her newborn stage, because it's so difficult. But at the same time, I'm trying to enjoy every single moment that I have with her, because I can't get it back. And I'm already sad about how fast it's gone and how big she is. Like, I could cry about it looking at old pictures when she was born, and just how fast everything's gone. Like, we have a disposable camera. We haven't even used it yet because things have just been so chaotic here, that we haven't even taken any pictures of her on our new camera. So it's really cliche that the time really flies by, and the fact that she's 5 weeks now, So I'm doing my best to go easy on myself and to give myself grace that I'm the best parent for her, that I'm doing the best I can. But some days it's a lot. It's definitely a lot when she's really extra fussy. She deals with a lot of gas, which is normal for newborns, but I'm nervous it's gonna develop into colic, because her adjusted age is like 3 weeks, because she was born early, so that's usually around the time that colic starts, and I'm nervous that that's gonna happen, because in those moments, I don't know how people do it for months. Like, I don't know how I would get through it. Obviously, you just one day at a time, but like, I get so much anxiety going into the evenings because of how bad she is at night and how little sleep I get and how much work it is all night long. And that's really why I haven't done anything. I haven't gone back to work. I haven't filmed any videos because I can't. My brain capacity from the lack of sleep is just, it's not there. Like, there are days where I can't form sentences because of the sleep deprivation. And we're working on a schedule where Ryan can take like the late shift and feed her so I can get in a little bit extra sleep, and I just skip a pump, even though that, you know, it wouldn't be for that long. It'd just be like an extra 2 hours, but I have not slept more than 2 hours in a row. So if I could get 4 hours straight, I think I'd be okay. But yeah, we're working on it. We're working on a routine. Obviously, she doesn't have one. She's a newborn. They don't have routines. We could do a schedule to an extent, but we're working on her cues, you know, how often she wants to eat, how often she wants to sleep. So anyway, that's been my postpartum life. It is a huge roller coaster. There are so many moments where I can cry out of happiness. I have so many tears. I cry all the time out of, you know, sadness, frustration. Like, the hormones raging in my body right now, especially with breastfeeding, are nuts and very overwhelming. And I thought period brain was bad. Like, postpartum brain and lack of sleep is something else. And just the fact I feel like a different person. Like, I don't recognize myself at all. Like, I feel like a shell, and I need to work on refilling it. Does that make sense? I need to work on my identity a little bit more, and, you know, start getting back to myself, because, you know, my clothes still don't fit. I tried on every single pair of pants that I own, and none of them fit 5 weeks postpartum, so I can't wear any of my normal clothes still, and that's been really hard because it's been, you know, like 9 months, 10 months since I've been able to feel like myself. So I'm hoping to get back to that. And actually, I don't even want to get back to that. I just want to find my new self, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't care about my old self anymore. I look at pictures and stuff from before I even got pregnant, and I'm like, who is that? Who is that person? Like, I don't even recognize her. It's just, I don't identify with her. So I need to like find my new identity, because I don't want to go back to the old one, you know. So anyway, that's my rant. That's my postpartum update for 1 month in, and I'll continue to update you guys. I want to get to doing vlogs and things and just showing my day-to-day, like realistic, nothing aesthetic here, no aesthetics going on. Like, we're chaotic in this house, just like realistic day of my lives and little vlogs with baby and things like that. So let me know if you're interested in that. Anything else do you want me to film or talk about on the channel now that I'm a new mom? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.